Hey guys, welcome to Cars, Cigars, and Cyber. On this episode, we're going to talk about something that's dear to our heart, the risk associated with new technology. Much like all of us, right? When we purchase that new car, we bring it home, we are excited to take our friends and family for a ride. But nowadays, it's more than just taking our cars out for a ride. It's actually the pairing of the technologies with the cars. We have our smartphones, we have our tablets, we have Wi-Fi hotspots that bring the internet into our new car platforms. That's the amazing and exciting convenience of the new emerging technology in our car platforms. But they also raise a certain level of risk associated with that. And today we're going to talk about two of those risk or threat vectors that we want to make you conscious of. When we first conceived the show Cars, Cigars, and Cyber, we wanted to ensure that the technology, the topics that we were discussing was digestible, right? Regardless of your interest to technology, right? We are techies, we are professors, we're academics, we're entrepreneurs. We're excited about this topic of cars, cigars, of course, and cyber. But as we noticed our family struggling with some of these things, we said, hey, this is a perfect channel, a perfect vector for bringing some of that know-how, some of that how-to to our larger audience. So the first thing we want to talk about is, again, bringing that new technology home. You just purchased your car, you brought it home, and you're starting to pair it with your other accounts. So what that really refers to is hardware and software security. Software security is associated with usernames and passwords with your accounts. So for example, if you had a cloud service provider that you're pairing with your car to have that streaming music, that streaming movies, they're going to ask you for some type of username and password. Make sure that you appropriately authenticate and you use those credentials to assure that yes, me as a car owner, my family, has some level of protection around that integration of that tool and that technology inside the car. You may see multi-factor authentication. That terminology is used common nowadays, and what that refers to is two factors, right? A username and a password and some level of authenticating code. That code may be a 4-digit password, it may be a text message, it may be a call confirming that yes, you in fact, the owner of the account, the owner of this car, has authenticated and authorized this level of transactions, right? Whether you're talking about paying for foods and services, paying for different fees, buying new music, streaming music and things of that nature, that level of authentication is important. So don't ever feel like you're in a rush or in a hurry and you want to bypass that type of security control. It's there for a reason. It protects your security, it protects your privacy, and that's the name of the game nowadays. So multi-factor authentication is something that you want to do, whether it's hardware or software. Another component you want to be mindful of is when you're pairing your phone, your tablets, your accounts to your cars, making sure that, again, you're utilizing the hardware security, right? First, we talked about software security. Now we're following up that conversation with hardware security, right? As we travel in and out of our vehicles, our phones are coming with us, and we want to make sure that that access to those accounts, that credit card information, the navigational information, where we've gone, where we've come from, where we're going, the routes that we've taken are protected. The technology in the cars are becoming more sophisticated and complex, and they are thinking about security and conscious of the type of vulnerabilities that exist when you have these open platforms. So again, as consumers, we want to make sure we're pairing and utilizing those technologies as often as possible. And what this is doing is creating this level of privacy and security that we're much needed in today's society when you're talking about the emergence of technology and something else, our families, right, in this formula of cars and technology. So guys, thank you again. I hope this is helpful. We tried to keep it basic, not too techy, but keep it interesting and frame it in the context of things that are exciting to us. Hence, welcome to Cars, Cigars, and Cyber. As we start each show and conclude each show with technology and wine and cigars, remember, the important thing is just to have a good time. So at the onset of the show, we talked about pairing technologies in the cars, the new cars that you guys bring home. As we unwind and talk about something that's exciting to us all here and the staff of Cars, Cigars, and Cyber are our wines and whiskeys. So this time we actually have some wines on the table. Some of the other shots you might have seen, we had some great whiskeys out here. But to show you guys that we are diverse, we've got some great wines. So prior to taping, I was talking to some of the colleagues about ice wine. So ice wines, in particularly that we have here, are from colder regions like Toronto. So we had a family trip up to Toronto and we tried some of the ice wines there from some of the local wineries. And they are incredible. They're sweet, so mind you, these aren't your everyday just sipping on wines unless you have that kind of affinity for a sweet wine. These are great with cheeses, desserts. If you're serving that kind of appetizer or concluding a meal, this is a great wine to have, ice wines, right? And there are definitely a lot of vineyards that have them in the Toronto area. There are some European ice wines as well in Germany and in Strasbourg area. So you pick your poison based on your budget, based on your palate, your taste, and your interest. You can't go wrong, and most importantly, we aren't judgmental here at Cars, Cigars, and Cyber. So we are about variety here, right? And again, pairing up some great wines, even with the cigars, you know, the Merlots, the Cabernets, that peppery, spicy taste of some of the dark reds go extremely well with some of the spice notes that are found in cigars. So prior to the taping of this episode, one of my colleagues and I were talking about the Drew Estates. So Drew Estates has a wide variety of cigars that are unique in their tasting notes. They have Java, they have the Liga Privada that we've talked about on the show, they have the Undercrown series as well, Robustos, great flavors, great tasting notes, great spice notes, right? When I first got turned on to Drew Estates, I started smoking one of the Java Maduro wafts, right? And this wafts had some coffee-infused end notes in it. And one of the guys at a cigar shop in Miami turned it on to me. And he says, hey man, this is a great cigar. I smoke it at breakfast, at lunch, at dinner. Whenever I'm in the mood for having an espresso or a nice dark roast cup of coffee, I do a Java Drew Estates waif, right? So that got me exploring the possibilities and some of the brands associated with the Drew Estates kind of offering. And also, the Undercrown is very cool. Again, sun-grown. This is shade, sun-grown here. And they are coloring of the wrapper. It gives you kind of an indication of where those tasting notes are. The price point is pretty good. You know, they have at different shops that you may go to anywhere from $5 up to $15 for the various Java, the Undercrown series, or the one of my favorite, the Liga Privadas, the Privada number 9. You can't go wrong with that, guys. So whatever you do, make sure you're enjoying it, enjoying family, friends, and the camaraderie associated with enjoying a great cigar, enjoying a great wine, a great whiskey, and even something new if you hadn't been exposed to it, the ice wines. You really can't go wrong, guys. And again, thank you again for joining us on Cars, Cigars, and Cybers. Cheers. Until next time.